Following breaking news as we come on air this morning, Hurricane Idalia strengthening to a Category 4 storm overnight, showing you a live look at the interstate over Tampa Bay, Florida. And you can see that the storm surge, if you peek close at your camera there, the waves kind of crashing over the barriers onto that roadway. And boy, folks, they're preparing for what could be landfall in about 2 hours later on this morning. Good morning. Thank you for waking up with us. I'm Marcus Took.
Good morning. I'm Kara Solso. Mass evacuations have already been ordered in areas of Florida as the hurricane does move in. We do want to get to Greg Fields, who's been following this storm all morning. Greg, this was upgraded, you said, in the past 45 minutes. What does this mean when you're looking at a Category 4?
Oh, this is a powerful major hurricane here with those winds 130 miles per hour. So we're talking about not just the winds, but we're talking about the rain, that storm surge that we'll show you here in just a bit. And we just saw the live picture there from the Tampa Bay area. They're getting whipped with those outer bands, and some of that's a storm surge flooding they'll have to deal with down in the Tampa Bay area as well. So here's what the storm looks like right now. You see that very well-defined circulation with the center of that circulation approaching the coast. So again, as Mark just mentioned, we're going to be in the next couple of hours. This is going to be moving onshore as that Category 4 hurricane. So it has gone through that rapid intensification because of the very, very warm waters there in the Gulf of Mexico, west of Cedar Key right now, but it is bearing down on the coast very quickly. It's moving off to the north and northwest at around 18 miles per hour. And look at those winds, 130 miles per hour right now, gusting to 160. And it's roughly going to be 55 miles west and northwest of Cedar Key. And you see that movement. It is pretty quick, north and northeast at 17 miles per hour right now. So it is going to slam on shore here a little bit later this morning. And we've talked about how warm, record warmth in the Gulf of Mexico. So overnight, early this morning, it has gone through that rapid intensification compared to where we were yesterday because of the warmth, anywhere from 85 to almost 89 degrees with those Gulf water temperatures. So the storm will be moving on shore a little bit later this morning as a Category 4 hurricane. And with it moving so fast, it's going to maintain that strength for quite some time, in fact, as it moves across South Georgia, finally weakening some as it moves up into the Carolinas, but still holding on to that hurricane strength. So we're still talking about strong winds, very heavy rain through South Georgia up into South Carolina. It's going to move between Charleston and Myrtle Beach before it gets out into the Atlantic as we head toward tomorrow, getting on into the weekend. I still think we'll be talking about Idalia. So this is going to be a very powerful storm. That storm surge, devastating, catastrophic storm surge we've been talking about with that as it moves in with that center of circulation, anywhere from 12 to 16 feet with that storm surge. So that's that wall of water that piles up along the center of the circulation with that storm. And then we throw in the full moon. That's going to make the higher tides about a foot higher than they would normally be because of that full moon. And you see there was a storm surge flooding going all the way down the coast there into the Tampa Bay area, a 4 to 7 foot storm surge forecast there. So yes, that is certainly going to cause the problems there with that storm surge, 6 to 10 inches of rain, and that will extend into South Georgia, portions of the Carolinas, again, with the storm maintaining that hurricane strength for quite some time. And you see the warnings, the hurricane warnings that we do have up and down the coast, but look how far north of those go, getting in onto the eastern portion of the Atlantic there, the eastern side of this storm there, as we're talking about Charleston, Wilmington, all the way up into the Virginias there, or close to it through North Carolina, the Outer Banks, as we're looking at those tropical storm warnings in effect there. So yes, we will be talking about this storm throughout the day. We'll have more for you, but we do have Megan Mitchell, our breaking news anchor, talking about how the folks have been preparing for this storm. Megan?
Yeah, Greg, and you mentioned that it could make landfall very soon, but I want to talk about what that means for the people living there. Just within the last hour, the National Weather Service in Tallahassee, Florida, is telling everyone there to shelter in place the same way you would like a tornado, because the wind is so fast with no relief for hours. Overnight, you can see the storm is battering down on Florida. The National Weather Service says that uptick to a Category 4, as you mentioned, Greg, means that those winds can now severely damage well-built homes and businesses. Power outages could last weeks, even months. You could even see outside of Tampa and Treasure Island, streets are flooded because of that storm surge. In fact, this is all up and down the west coast of Florida right now. It looks like rivers in the roads, just like here in St. Pete Beach, much like the same in Fort Myers as well. People there are really taking these warnings seriously.
My son's a law enforcement officer, and he's encouraged me real bad to leave. They have ordered a lot of body bags. They're expecting some fatalities, so I don't want to be one of them. It's scary.
And hey, you also mentioned Georgia and South Carolina. They're packing sandbags as well, loading up supplies to get them through the coming days. So it will likely, as you mentioned, Greg, stay a hurricane while passing over those two states. That means more flooding for them, but it really means that those winds could still be producing devastation after Idalia leaves Florida.